Hello and welcome to another great episode of the Great Debaters Contest. I am your host, Austin Nyambok.
And I am Mariam Bishar.
Are socialist societies superior to capitalist societies? That is the question we seek to answer today.
Facing off in this very lovely debate will be Singora girls and State House girls, both giants in their own right. We hope they do the motion justice.
The motion this week is: socialist societies are superior to capitalist societies. Proposing the motion, State House Girls. Opposing the motion, Singora Girls High School. Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with the widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.
Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Shalmit Washira from State House Girls High School. Socialism, a set of political and economic theories where everybody has equal chances and wealth is produced for collective use by all. Capitalism, an economic system in which a country's business and industries are controlled and run by the private owners. Let us not confuse socialism to communism. Communism is where everything is divided equally, whether you are working or not. But in socialism, one principle is that everybody is compensated according to their individual contribution. Societies which practice socialism have excellent job creations because everybody who graduates from school is assured of work. An opinion poll was carried out in the United States of America. 47% agreed that socialism was better. 43% took that capitalism was better. The rest did not know where they stood. The reason for this is because the rates of unemployment were increasing in the United States of America. This was from the age of 18 to 29 years. There is high quality of life because those people in such societies receive free education and healthcare facilities. Take the example of Finland. Finland has one of the best and highest living standards. It has one of the best education systems with no tuition fees, and literacy levels are at 100%. This socialism, it allows unity among the people. Let's take the example of Tanzania. During the Ujamaa era, people used to live in groups of 250 families. This enabled the people to know each other according to their personal levels. People became more comfortable with each other, and a bond grew between the people. There is the development of infrastructure. Libya was one of the most developed countries in Africa. This was when it used to practice socialism. There is political stability in countries that are socialists. Costa Rica replaced its army with an army of teachers because the country had peace. Why would we need an army when the country has peace? Hence, they needed more teachers to educate their people because of the increasing need for education. Socialist societies promote environmental conservation. In capitalist societies, everybody wants to make wealth for themselves. We see things like poaching, deforestation. In socialist societies, everything is used for the benefit of all. So they look for ways in which they make income, yes, but they preserve the environment. A wise man once said, if you want to walk far, walk alone. But if you want to walk further, walk with others. Thank you.
Next will be the first opposer. You also have 3 minutes.
Cancer. This is a deadly disease that researchers and doctors are trying their best to eliminate. It's one of the debilitating diseases that all of us are trying to put it to a halt. Well, take this for a thought. You wake up one morning and hear that death has been destroyed. Will you believe it, or will you be the doubting Thomas? It is my dream that one day I will awaken and to the dawn and hear that socialism has come to a halt and capitalism has been embraced. This has been made true by Adam Smith, who brought about capitalism. Okay, what is socialism? To begin with, socialism is a set of political and economic theories that are based on beliefs that everyone has an equal share in their country, although it's governed by the government and everything runs under the government. To add to that, what is capitalism? Capitalism is an economic system which the country businesses and industries are controlled and run by the profit of private owners rather than the government itself. And due to socialism, we have seen that it has been practiced in many countries, such as the USA, and it never worked. That is why we are supporting the capitalism, which has been made possible in countries such as Bermuda, Singapore, and Cinnamon Islands. It has really helped them to grow their country economically and both politically. Well, I believe that capitalism should be embraced, considering the fact that it will enhance vitality. What do I mean when I say vitality? This is whereby, due to the unregulated resources and investment, capital makes it easier for the entrepreneurs, especially in our country, a third growing country, that is Kenya, to be risk takers and become innovative. Thus, it promotes innovation in our country. Our country tends to grow at a higher rate. Don't you think we'll be able to come up with a vision 2030 that each of one is anticipating to achieve? I believe we will. In addition, it will also aid in freedom. As we know, in reference to our constitution that states everyone has a right of ownership. Each of us will be able to own property, not run by the government, but by you as an individual, as a mwananchi of our country, Kenya. Thus, we'll be able to give capitalism a chance to embrace our country and to grow our country both economically. Well, to add to a point of socialism, my fellow colleague talked about the ujamaa in Tanzania, but then it never worked. Why is it that Tanzania is not practicing socialism till to date? It's because it never worked. It didn't work in Tanzania, rather did it work in Rwanda or China. It's also seen in the Great Berlin Wall that fell due to capitalism. And right now I'm so sure that Barack Obama, wherever he is, he's supporting me, for he's the president of one of the biggest capitalist country. And I'm sorry for Huji Anton. He's one of the presidents of the biggest socialist society, but then it's not working. People, let's support capitalism. It's what we need in our country.
Time now for cross-examinations. We begin with the proposers. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Virginia Gethinji, and I am a socialist, a pure socialist, because I value human dignity. First of all, my sisters on the opposing side, it's not capitalism, but capitalism. Get that right. Secondly, USA from the beginning was a capitalist country. We have researched and we have found nowhere speaking that they practice socialism. The countries that practice socialism are mainly those that belong to the USSR and also the Eastern Germany countries. You said something about innovation. Well, it's true that it does promote innovation, but get this. One of the major problems that Kenya is experiencing as a capitalist society is drug trafficking and human trafficking. This was part of innovation because everyone is in the run for getting money. This desire to want to get money causes people to really think outside the box. And that is how we get drug trafficking. And we have seen that drugs has killed most of the greatest brains that we have had here in Kenya. So innovation, does it really work for the common good of everyone? Let me add to a few points that my colleague said. First of all, Socialism offers more security. I say this because most of us in capitalist societies, we apply for insurance because we know when we lose everything, when that time comes and a risk occurs and we lose our property, we will have to begin from scratch. But in socialist societies, for example, Turkmenistan, we are provided with the basic things that we need to start off a business. In Turkmenistan, they are provided with education, free education for that matter, free health care, and they are also provided for free electricity and free water. If you have all that, won't you start off from a better place rather than starting off from a poorer place? Secondly, every man wins in a socialist society. I say this because everyone gets a share of the national resources. In a capitalist society, I would like to define a capitalist society as a winner-takes-it-all society. It is where you have to be the best so that you can get these resources. Those who are still working and are not getting the best, they do not get the resources. Or if they do, it is very limited and it is not sufficient for them. But in a socialist society, everyone gets to start off from a basis where they can be able to push themselves further. Allow me to say this as a finish. This debate is purely a debate of wealth versus relationship. Suppose you came to this debate and you found only buildings and seats. Would you be comfortable? Man is a social being. A rope of 3 strands is stronger than that of 1 strand. Thank you.
The opposing team will now give their cross-examination. You also have 3 minutes.
Virginia, you're a Kenyan citizen, right? By birth? By registration. Being a Kenyan citizen makes you a capitalist. You own that pencil in your hand. It's yours. You're a capitalist. And to everybody who supports socialism, just so you know, back in the 20th century, socialism was a big lie to the society. It promised prosperity, it promised equality, it promised security. But instead, it offered the exact opposite. It offered poverty. It offered misery. And just so you know, the equality it offered was the equal misery that everybody had. And that is why, all the way from Thingore Girls, Elgeyo Marakwet, I cannot stand here and wait to be misled by these ladies. And that is why I will support capitalism. Socialism leads to economic collapse. Take a good example of China. China has a population of about 1.3 billion. It was a socialist society. Economic collapse in China, due to the increase in population, it led to collapse. There are more parasites than the producers. China has a population of 1.3 billion, making them parasites. They need support from only one source, that is the government. It also encourages, capitalism encourages competition. Hardworking society leads to high, healthy competition. Take a good example of Kenya. We're all striving to reach the Vision 2030. But if we turn this country, Kenya, as a socialist society, all depending on one government, we're not going to reach the Vision 2030. Instead, Onyango is striving to work hard and be better than Wamboi. Wamboi is striving to work hard and be better than Karanja. That is making a healthy competition. Everybody is trying to work hard to be a better person than the other. It will help us reach the Vision 2030. Capitalism leads to economic stability because there's typically no guarantee that the government will offer support in business. Companies must adjust their supplies to reach the consumer demand. This will lead to more sufficient economic supplies. And that is why I will not continue to support socialism. Thank you.
I'm Kadiali Dana from the Kenya High School, and I'd love to ask the proposers. They actually quoted Tanzania as a socialist republic. Don't you know that at the end of Julius Nyerere's rule, he agreed and said and confessed himself that the socialist regime had failed in Tanzania itself?
Gitao Paul, Bavarian Suba. I have a question for the proposers and I'd like to ask. She said that humans are social beings. So does that mean being a capitalist makes me less of a social being?
My name is Mary Wamboi from Neighbor Girls High School. My question to the opposers, you say they become a capitalist nation, but scholarships are provided by socialists. What happens to all those futures who depend on those scholarships in the name of capitalism? Thank you.
I'm Purity from Kauhia Girls, and I have a question to the opposers. What do you have to say about the Nyumba Kumi initiative in our country, Kenya? Doesn't that promote socialism before you go to capitalism?
May we have the third proposer take the stage?
The wealth of the earth belongs to all men, or is it none? From State House Girls, Claire Mushiri. Now, our topic today mainly puts us against two sides, if I may put it. Do we advocate for human equality, or do we advocate for prosperity? Tanzania, is where it is today because of the well-grounded social culture that was cultivated in them many years ago. Have you ever heard of tribal clashes in Tanzania? No. Have you ever heard of tribal clashes in Kenya, a capitalist state? Yes. Now, to the second question, social beings and being, if you're a capitalist, then you're not a social being. I'm sorry I did not get what school you're from, but do you know who I am? I bet not. But if we were a socialist state, I bet you'd know who I am. And it would have been a pleasure to know you. Our sisters from the opposite side talked of my colleague's pencil. In my hand is her pencil. She lent it to me because we're socialist people. We believe in sharing, not in personal wealth. It has not lost its value, it's gained its value because I can now use it. There are very many poor capitalist states. People in capitalist states live in poverty because the people only look after their own personal gain and their own personal wealth. Countries like New Zealand, countries like Sweden, countries like Norway. Have you ever heard of slums in such places? I bet not. But how many slums do we have in Kenya? A capitalist state which we all brag with. I'd rather be a socialist and be able to afford basic necessities instead of being a capitalist where I only think of myself. That is selfishness, and it leads us nowhere. Moving on, Vision 2030. We all speak so proudly of it. What year are we in? 2014. How many years do we have to go? 16 years. Are we anywhere near achieving our goal? No. What is the reason? The richer get richer, the poorer get poorer. That is what capitalism does to you. How many people will actually enjoy the benefits of this Vision 2030? We talk of creating more jobs. Where are these more jobs? All I hear in the news is people going on strikes because they're complaining of lack of work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you like to move alone, go ahead. I'll see you on the other side with my friends, rested and calm, because as socialists, we moved together. Thank you.
The third opposer, you may respond to the audience.
My name is Jessie Maito, and I will be opposing the motion, but first to your questions. The first question was about scholarship as socialism. The country is trying to come up with a way to eradicate the main problem of capitalism, and the main problem of capitalism is the social gap. By a project that was developed in Kenya in the year 1960, that those people earning more than 10,000 shillings should be taxed more than those earning lower, is to ensure that the tax that is gained from these people is to help the poor, and that eradicating the main problem, that is the social gap. And the second question was about the Nyumba Kumi thing. The Nyumba Kumi is supposed to make you have a good interaction with your neighbor and not merely share your things with the neighbor or use it as a community. It is make you know what is happening within your surrounding. That is what the Nyumba Kumi initiative is meant to do. About the pencil, these people, very honored ladies, sitting and proposing the motion are citizens of Kenya. We all know that Kenya is a capitalist society. That is what my fellow was trying to address. I would like to stress on the point of tax. The country is using all the means to ensure that we fill this gap of the social classes so that the rich are not having more and the poor are not having more. And I would like to be part of an interesting story. In this world, I would like to leave something that people will talk about me. The story I would like to tell should be a nice story. That is why I support capitalism and not socialism. Thank you.
Closing statements now. We begin with the proposers. You have 1 minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at this from a different perspective. Say you went to university, got a good job, got married, had kids, had a well-off life. Later on, you lost your job because your company wanted to move abroad and broaden its base, get more profits. A few months later, you receive a letter from the bank. They want to take your house. You go to them pleading, asking them to help you in some sort of way. They refuse. Reason being, the only reason you were important to them is because of the money that you gave them at the end of the month. This is what capitalism talks about. However, you moved to your parents and they took you in with open arms, accepted you, a true show of charity. This is what socialism talks about. This is humanity. Borrowing a leaf from Sauti Sol, Money Lover, they sang and said, would you rather sit at the back of the Mercedes and cry, sit at the back of a bicycle and laugh? But I say, I would rather sit at the back of a Pro Box and have all of my friends with me. Thank you.
Opposers, you also have a minute.
I'm Batsheba Michelle from Singore Girls High School. And after a conclusion and hearing on both sides, there must be a verdict. And I believe that socialism is an exploitative-based form of power. Though not providing monopolistic power, it is providing an exploitative power whereby we are ruled under dictatorship of the government controlling everything. It has also been seen in Northern Korea and Southern Korea that Southern Korea is practicing capitalism and it's working, but in Northern Korea, no, it's not. Well, why can't we apply it here in Kenya and enhance that capitalism be the root cause of our success and be the root cause of our Vision 2030 coming to reality? And as a famous slogan goes, enyewe kuna dreams, lakini yangu ni ndoto. How wish my ndoto becomes a dream that all of us will join hands together and support capitalism. Or what do you think? Take that for a thought. Thank you.
Thank you so much for at least what you did. It was commendable for me on my side. However, it's a little bit of, I would say, can do better in terms of what you did with the motion. Shelmith, well done. You did well. But if you want to walk your team first, it's good for you to really come up strong and pull it so that the rest of the teams can build up on that, the rest of your team members. You're very confident, and you even taught me today something that if you want to walk far, walk alone, but if you want to walk further, walk with others. That was good. So I want to applaud your use of language and sayings that you used on stage. Virginia, I think you did well. So for me, I was convinced you did well. Claire, good mastery of language, confidence, and good and catchy ending. So all the best to the two teams.
Let me talk to Singore girls. I'll single out Michelle. I like your presentation, honestly. I like your energy. I like your stage presence. You're quite good. Your verbal eloquence, I'll commend you for that. 2, use of rhetorical question and being intelligent enough to know that after using a rhetorical question, you pause for an impact. That was done, and that was good. You're also, let me say, basically intelligent and beautiful analogy. You know, the use of cancer to refer to socialism is a cancer in our society, and therefore we should embrace capitalism. That was good and intelligent. Again, use of pictures always communicate to an audience. Irene, you began with some energy, but it died. And that's the question, why did it die? You came out so passionate, and then the passion died somewhere along the way. Master content in order to ensure that there is flow of ideas. And finally, Stacy, soft-spoken. I'll not say that you're that bad. To me, partly you communicated to me. But I can say that you can do better when it comes to your style in order to boost content delivery. There is always an expectation. I know you know that. And if you go below the expectation, then we shall demand more from you. But the two girls, it was fairly a job well done, rather. Thank you.
I'll be honest, I just do not feel that justice was done to the motion. And I struggled to stay awake. Sounds harsh, but that's the truth, because in a debate you want to get the audience's attention, and if you're your primary audience and we are not following, then that's a problem. I think one of the places that the teams should have begun, and I know you start off by defining terms, but even the definitions are not clear and succinct. One of the things that I realized is that in some of the presentations made that you're even confusing socialism and capitalism and communism as well. There's a difference between socialism, communism, capitalism. You know, having said that, I was disappointed by the two schools.
As for the judges, this is what they said. State House girls, 68%. Give them a hand. Singora girls, 66%. Still a very good effort, so you still want to clap for them.
Well, I'll leave you with a saying, water falls, but it keeps flowing. And from all of us here at the Great Debaters Contest, I am your host, Austin Nyambok.
I am Mariam Bishar. We'll see you next time.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with the widescreen TV, computers, webcams, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a tablet courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Unilever, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together, they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win.